Picture this: a corporate boardroom, a political rally, or a startup pitch meeting. The person at the centre, the one everyone listens to, radiates confidence, spins compelling stories, or takes jaw-dropping risks. But later you learn they exaggerated their achievements, prioritised their ego, or acted with reckless abandon. Why do such people often rise to the top? Why do leadership roles seem to reward narcissists, liars and fools? Over 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli, the sharp-minded author of The Prince, offered a provocative answer. Leadership isn't just about virtue or skill, it's about mastering power, perception, and human nature. In this lesson, we'll unravel this paradox and explore why these traits thrive in leadership, whether you're aiming to lead, navigating a workplace, or simply curious about why the world works this way. This journey will equip you with insights to understand, navigate, or even challenge these dynamics. We'll break it down into 3 parts. First, dissecting the traits of narcissists, liars and fools. Second, analysing why systems and psychology reward them. And third, applying Machiavelli's wisdom to lead better or demand better. Along the way, we'll dive into real-world examples, psychological research, historical parallels, and practical advice to keep you hooked and informed. Let's begin. Part 1. Who are narcissists, liars, and fools? To understand why leadership rewards certain traits, we need to define who these narcissists, liars, and fools are, what drives them, and why their behaviours resonate in leadership contexts. The narcissist, the charismatic self-promoter. Narcissists are defined by 3 core traits: an inflated sense of self-worth, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. In leadership, these qualities can make them magnetic yet dangerous. Their confidence draws people in like moths to a flame. A 2013 study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that narcissists are often chosen as leaders in group settings because their boldness and charisma signal competence, especially in short-term interactions like job interviews or public speeches. Consider a modern CEO who dominates headlines with grand visions of revolutionising an industry. Their polished speeches and larger-than-life persona inspire employees and investors alike. But behind the scenes, they may take credit for others' work, dismiss criticism, or prioritise personal fame over the company's long-term health. Historical figures like Napoleon Bonaparte embody this archetype. His narcissistic drive fueled his rise to power, but his ego led to disastrous decisions, like the 1812 invasion of Russia, which cost hundreds of thousands of lives. Narcissists thrive because they excel at self-promotion. They're often the first to speak up, the loudest in the room, and the most skilled at crafting a personal brand. In a world where attention is currency, their ability to stand out gives them an edge, but their leadership often comes at a cost. Teams suffer from low morale, and organisations risk instability when the narcissist's flaws, arrogance, impulsivity, or vindictiveness surface. The liar, the architect of perception. Liars in leadership aren't always spinning outright falsehoods. More often, they're masters of selective truth, exaggeration, or strategic omission. Machiavelli called this virtue, the ability to shape circumstances through cunning. A 2018 study in organisational behaviour and human decision processes show that individuals who use strategic deception often climb hierarchies faster because they navigate social and political dynamics with ease. Think of a politician who tailors their message to different audiences, promising tax cuts to one group and social programmes to another, without a clear plan to deliver both. Or a corporate executive who inflates quarterly projections to secure funding, knowing the truth may not surface for months. These lies, when executed skillfully, build trust and momentum, even if they're built on shaky foundations. Machiavelli admired this adaptability, writing in The Prince that a leader must be a fox to recognise traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Liars excel at reading people and situations, adjusting their approach to maximise influence. Their strength lies in storytelling, crafting narratives that inspire, persuade, or obscure inconvenient truths. But when their deceptions unravel, the fallout can be catastrophic, eroding trust and credibility. The fool, the bold risk taker. Fools in this context aren't necessarily unintelligent. They're individuals who act impulsively, take outsized risks, or seem oblivious to consequences, yet sometimes succeed spectacularly. Their unpredictability can disrupt norms, inspire followers, or catch competitors off guard. A 2020 study in Nature Human Behaviour found that overconfidence, often perceived as foolishness, correlates with leadership selection because it signals decisiveness and ambition. Take the example of a startup founder who launches a company with no clear business plan but gains traction through sheer audacity. Or consider Christopher Columbus, whose bold and arguably foolish pursuit of a western route to Asia led to the discovery of the Americas, despite his gross miscalculations. In modern times, leaders like Elon Musk embody this trait. His risky bets, like launching SpaceX with limited experience, have paid off, but his impulsive decisions, like controversial public statements, often spark chaos. Fools succeed because their willingness to act without overthinking can break through hesitation or bureaucracy. In fast-moving environments like tech or politics, this boldness can be mistaken for vision. But their recklessness can also lead to failure, leaving others to clean up the mess. Why these traits resonate: narcissists, liars and fools share a knack for capturing attention. Narcissists do it through charisma, liars through storytelling, and fools through audacity. In leadership, where perception often outweighs reality, these traits become powerful tools. They make people stand out in crowded fields, whether it's a corporate ladder, a political campaign, or a social movement. But why do organisations and societies reward these traits so handsomely? Let's explore the systemic and psychological forces at play. Part 2. Why systems and psychology reward. These traits. Leadership doesn't emerge in isolation. It's shaped by human behaviour, organisational structures, and societal norms. Here's why narcissists, liars and fools often rise to the top. The psychology of followership. Humans are drawn to leaders who project strength, certainty, or excitement. Evolutionary psychology suggests that we evolved to follow individuals who appear dominant traits, confidence, decisiveness, or risk-taking, because they signalled the ability to lead in dangerous or scarce environments. Narcissists exploit this with their unshakable self-assurance, often appearing as natural leaders. A 2016 study in the Leadership Quarterly found that charismatic leaders are rated higher by followers, even when their performance is average or worse, because their presence feels commanding. Liars, meanwhile, craft stories that tap into our emotions, hope, fear, or anger. A politician promising quick fixes to complex problems might inspire voters, even if their promises are unrealistic. Fools with their bold, unpredictable actions captivate us because they defy caution. Their audacity feels refreshing in a world of over-calculated moves. Machiavelli understood this dynamic, writing, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a skillful deceiver will always find plenty who are ready to be deceived." This psychological bias explains why we often overlook red flags. A narcissistic leader's arrogance might be seen as confidence, a liar's inconsistencies as flexibility, or a fool's recklessness as courage. Our brains are wired for quick judgments, and these traits exploit that wiring. The structure of organisations. Modern organisations, corporations, governments, non-profits, often prioritise measurable, short-term results over intangible qualities like integrity or collaboration. Narcissists excel in these systems because they focus on visible wins, securing deals, boosting stock prices, or gaining media attention. A 2019 Harvard Business Review article noted that promotions often go to those who master impression management, projecting success, rather than those who quietly deliver results. Liars thrive in environments with weak accountability. In complex organisations, it's hard to verify every claim immediately. A manager who exaggerates their team's performance might win a promotion before the truth emerges. Fools, meanwhile, shine in chaotic or innovative settings where bold risks are rewarded. Tech startups, for example, celebrate founders who move fast and break things. Even if their gambles sometimes fail, Machiavelli would argue that these systems reward those who understand power dynamics and exploit them. He wrote, "The one who depends upon fortune is ruined when fortune changes, but the one who knows how to act with the times prospers. Narcissists, liars, and fools often align themselves with the times, the incentives and priorities of their environment, giving them a structural advantage. The competitive arena leadership is a high-stakes competition, and narcissists, liars, and fools are often willing to do what others won't. Narcissists aggressively self-promote, even if it means stepping on colleagues. Liars bend ethical boundaries to gain allies or discredit rivals. Fools take risks that others shy away from, sometimes reaping outsized rewards." A 2017 study in personnel psychology found that individuals who engage in political behaviours like strategic flattery or selective truth-telling often advance faster than those who focus solely on their work. Take the case of Elizabeth Holmes, the Theranos founder. Her compelling narrative about revolutionising healthcare attracted billions in investment despite lacking a working product. Her ability to sell a vision, even a false one, gave her an edge in the competitive world of Silicon Valley. Machiavelli's insight was clear. He who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. Those who play ruthlessly often win, at least in the game's early stages. The flaws in reward systems. These traits don't just rewarded by chance, they're enabled by flawed systems. Performance metrics often emphasise short-term outcomes, revenue, votes, or clicks, over long-term sustainability or ethics. Narcissists and liars exploit this by delivering visible results through any means necessary through charm, deceit, or bold moves, even or manipulation. Fools, meanwhile, can disrupt stagnant systems, earning praise for innovation, even if their actions are reckless. Machiavelli's insight was that power rewards those who understand the rules and bend them, not those who play fair. For example, in corporate settings, bonuses and promotions are often tied to quarterly results, not long-term strategy. A sales leader who inflates numbers might secure a bonus, even if their tactics harm customer trust later. In politics, candidates who dominate headlines with bold promises often win elections, even when their plans are vague. These systems incentivize narcissists, liars, and fools to thrive because they align with the metrics that matter most. Part 3. Machiavelli's lessons for today. Machiavelli's The Prince is often seen as a cynical guide to power, but it's also a mirror to human behaviour. His insights reveal not only why narcissists, liars, and fools succeed, but also how we can navigate compete, or reform these dynamics. How to apply these lessons, whether you're leading, following, or seeking change. Lesson 1. Perception shapes power. Machiavelli argued that a leader's success hinges on how they're perceived, not just what they achieve. Narcissists master this by crafting a compelling image through charisma. Liars shape perceptions with tailored narratives. Fools create impact through bold, memorable actions. For aspiring leaders, this means honing your ability to communicate clearly and confidently, but ethically. In a workplace, for example, practice presenting your ideas with conviction in meetings or pitches, but always ensure your claims are grounded in facts. For followers, this lesson is a call to look beyond surface charm. Evaluate leaders by their track record, not just their promises. Ask, do they deliver results? Do their actions benefit the group or only themselves? A leader who takes credit for others' work might be a narcissist hiding behind a polished facade. Lesson 2. Adaptability wins. Machiavelli's ideal leader is both a fox, cunning, and a lion, bold. Liars excel because they tailor their message to the audience. Say, it's a manager who pitches the same idea differently to executives, profit-focused, and employees, mission-driven. Narcissists adapt by pivoting to maintain their image. Fools act when others hesitate, seizing opportunities. To apply this, cultivate flexibility. In a job negotiation, for example, emphasize skills that align with the employer's priorities, whether it's innovation or efficiency. For organisations, this means designing systems that reward adaptability without enabling deceit. Transparent performance metrics like 360-degree feedback can encourage creative problem solving while discouraging manipulation. Regular audits and clear ethical guidelines can also keep liars in check. Lesson 3. Strategy is everything. Machiavelli didn't advocate blind ruthlessness. He emphasised calculated moves. Narcissists, liars and fools often succeed because they understand the game, whether it's networking, storytelling or risk-taking. To compete, develop your own strategy. Build alliances with colleagues. Communicate your contributions clearly and take calculated risks. For instance, volunteering for a high visibility project can boost your profile, but only if you're prepared to deliver. For society, this lesson underscores the need for stronger checks and balances. Independent media scrutiny, robust whistleblower protections, and mandatory ethics training can curb the excesses of narcissists and liars. Meanwhile, fostering environments where calculated risks are rewarded but reckless gambles are scrutinised can harness the energy of fools for positive change. Lesson 4. Break the mould wisely. Fools challenge conventions, often with disruptive results. Their bold actions can expose inefficiencies or spark innovation. Machiavelli admired leaders who seized opportunities, even if it meant defying norms. Today, this might mean proposing a radical new workflow in a stagnant company or advocating for policy changes in a rigid institution. But recklessness without foresight can backfire, as seen in failed startups or misguided reforms. For individuals, balance boldness with preparation. Before pitching a risky idea, research its feasibility and anticipate objections. For organisations, create a culture where innovation is encouraged but tempered with accountability. Hackathons or innovation labs can channel the fool's energy, while rigorous evaluation ensures risks are calculated. Lesson 5. Understand the system. Machiavelli's core insight was that power flows to those who understand the rules of the game. Narcissists, liars and fools succeed because they exploit systemic incentives, whether it's short-term metrics, weak oversight or human biases. To navigate this, study your environment. In a corporate setting, identify what drives promotions. Is it revenue, innovation, or relationships? Tailor your efforts accordingly, but stay true to your values. For systemic change, advocate for reforms that align rewards with long-term value. For example, companies could adopt metrics that measure employee retention or customer trust alongside profit. Governments could prioritise evidence-based policies over populist promises. These changes reduce the space for narcissists, liars and fools to thrive unchecked real-world applications. Let's bring these lessons to life with practical scenarios. The ambitious professional. You're aiming for a promotion in a competitive firm. Use Machiavelli's lessons by building a strong personal brand, perception, tailoring your pitch to stakeholders, adaptability, and strategically networking with decision makers, strategy. But avoid narcissistic traps, give credit to your team, and focus on sustainable results. The discerning follower. You're evaluating a new boss who's charismatic but vague on details. Look beyond their charm, perception, and check their track record. Ask colleagues for honest feedback and watch for signs of self-interest or deception. The organisational reformer. You're in HR and want to reduce toxic leadership. Advocate for transparent metrics like peer reviews to limit liars' manipulation. Create innovation programs to harness fools' energy, but pair them with rigorous oversight to prevent recklessness. Practical takeaways. For aspiring leaders, develop confidence and storytelling skills, but anchor them in competence and ethics. Study your environment's incentives and align your efforts strategically. For followers, be sceptical of bold promises or charisma. Demand evidence of results and hold leaders accountable through questions or feedback. For organisations, reform reward systems to prioritise long-term value. Use transparent metrics, ethical guidelines, and diverse leadership to curb narcissists, liars, and fools. For society, push for systemic checks, media scrutiny, whistleblower protections, and evidence-based policies to limit the rise of toxic leaders. Final words: rewriting the leadership playbook. Machiavelli's The Prince isn't just a manual for power-hungry rulers. It's a lens to understand why leadership often rewards narcissists, liars, and fools. These traits thrive because they exploit human psychology, our love for confidence, stories, and boldness, and systemic flaws like short-termism and weak accountability. But this isn't the whole story. By understanding these dynamics, we can navigate them with wisdom, lead with integrity, or push for systems that reward substance over flash. Reflect on the leaders around you. Who rises to the top and why? Are they narcissists basking in their own glory, liars spinning tales, or fools stumbling into success? More importantly, how can you use Machiavelli's lessons to lead differently or demand better? Whether you're in a classroom, a boardroom, or a community, you have the tools to shape your path. The question is, will you play the game as it is, or will you rewrite the rules for a better future? This lesson isn't just about exposing the dark side of leadership, it's about empowering you to act with clarity, purpose, and impact. Take these insights, apply them, and share them. The world's leadership stage is waiting for voices like yours, ones that can blend Machiavelli's pragmatism with a vision for something greater than power alone,